As preparations get underway here in Doha for football's 2022 World Cup, it feels like a city on the move. This shopping and hotel development is under construction 24 hours a day. But property experts say that many towers on the city's iconic skyline lie unfilled, partly because owners prefer to wait for big tenants who'll take a whole floor, several floors, or even a complete tower. That, though, is beginning to change.
This is Al Jazeera Tower, which is located in the diplomatic district of Doha, which is the premier office location within Qatar. The unit sizes here are about half that of the main market.
Current market demand is for those smaller offices, so places like these are expected to prove popular. But there are still possible risks on the horizon for the property sector.
At the moment, the markets are relatively balanced for the size of the population and with all the activity that's going on with the lead up to the World Cup. But what Doha needs to do is make sure they phase that supply so we don't have huge periods of oversupply, which will obviously lead to decrease in rents and sale prices.
Of course, the people who come to work in those offices will need somewhere to live. So how's the residential property sector faring?
This is Doha's flagship Pearl artificial island development project. It's a mixture of residential and commercial units, and it's largely finished, as you can see. But prices for property here have been relatively flat in the last year or so, compared to Dubai's 10 to 20% growth in prices in prime developments like this. So does that disappoint the developers?
No, it's not disappointed. If you look at Dubai, probably, it's not last year. It was like, I would say, mid of last year started doing this, and they picked it up in the last quarter. And this has happened the same thing here. The last quarter I saw 20 to 28% increase in the value of reselling. Our prices didn't change. We kept our prices, but people who bought property, they're selling now with a minimum of 28 to 20%, depending on the location and the type of property.
Mark's just arrived in Doha and found the process of renting smooth, though unlike in other places he's lived, discovered there was very little room for negotiation.
Finding apartments is not too difficult. There appears to be plenty of availability. Landlords do like to maintain a level of rent for 1, 2, 3 bedroomed apartment types, so it is difficult to negotiate. But if you work with the right agent, you can secure a small discount. Maybe that's due to the owners wanting to maintain their level of rent, so they're happy to keep their apartments empty.
That said, overall the market is buoyant, and as in the UAE, has benefited from turmoil elsewhere in the region.
Let's look at Bahrain, for example, our closest neighbour. Sadly, Bahrain has suffered from the Arab Spring and the current political situation. A number of expats have left Bahrain, as have a number of businesses. And really, Doha has benefited from that influx of people. Although the rents in Doha are perhaps 4 times as much what they are in Bahrain currently, that hasn't stopped people coming.
So as the finishing touches are made to Al Jazeera Tower, there's a mixed picture for property here in Doha. The market is adapting to demand for smaller office units, and there are plenty of people and businesses arriving for the World Cup. As long as a glut of new developments are avoided and construction is carefully phased, it looks like it could be smiles all round for property investors.